Good afternoon, Ngozi Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. So with me today, guys, I'm with the Carol Ann Cooper and Kamau Emma. How are you guys?
We're good.
I'm good, thanks.
How are you?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good, thank you. So the topic today is the post-success slump, why the highs are followed by the lows. So this refers to emotionally and psychologically deep many people experience after achieving a significant goal milestone. So I don't know, guys, who chose the topic between Kamau and Carol Ann. Would you guys, anyone likes to explain the topic, whoever chose it?
Yeah, I chose it. It's we have a great follow-up for next week as well, which Kamal suggested, and I just this one sort of come to mind because it's something that's I found myself in, and I'm still sort of working through, following my success of speaking on Des O'Connor's stage the other week, and where I found myself last week and this week, I'm sort of slowly starting to pull out, but it just felt like I was in that slump. It's, it can be called the post-success slump, or often it's referred to as the dip. And I just thought it might be a great um, topic to talk about and discuss, because again, it might help me just in talking about it, help to get through it a bit more quickly and stop making myself so wrong. Because that's often the trap we fall into, is this making ourselves wrong, that we're not moving on quickly. We see other people moving on and they seem to be getting on with it and making, even more successes. And there's me still going, oh, I'm tired. Why can't I do what I'm supposed to be doing? And you also come up against uh, actions that you keep avoiding, you know, all the time because it's there to do. So that's hence the topic. So what did you think when you saw it? Well,
I mean, when you shared it and spoke about it, I know a lot of people go through this, right? This is something that happens to sports people. It's something that is prevalent in plenty of success stories of people who persevere, right? Who chase their dreams, who have certain work ethics, right? And um, considering that reaching one's goal is the climax of your goal, of your main event in your life, right? The question arises as what comes next, right? So you can call it the post-success slump, for instance. Um, and I think it's for me, when you're talking about it, for me, it's a an unexpected dip, right, in your motivation, in your mood, in your overall sense of purpose. Since I talk about purpose, that 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 comes along right after your major success. And we've got plenty of examples of those. We've got major athletes, right, in Olympics. Once the game is over, once they're standing on the podium, they have this high. Um, they they feel that surprisingly low feeling, that slump in their situation. And I think, as you're saying, it can be very interesting to discuss why it happens. And should I think another question arises is, shouldn't that success like breed or create more success and happiness in your life? Um, I don't know. Considering that we are humans and we can adapt very quickly, what what circumstances are we living, right, that will allow us to do that? And so, I mean, obviously you have thoughts in your mind, and this is my impression, and this is what I was thinking about when you spoke about this. the subject. I mean, it's a fascinating subject that hits home when it comes to purpose as well. So yeah.
What about you, Namza? What did you think when you saw it?
Actually, there was a crack when you were speaking, Carol, and I didn't hear you. I only had the Kamal when it was very, very clear, but I didn't hear the whole thing, what you were saying.
Okay.
I don't know if you like to repeat it. Maybe that's what I'm asking.
Okay. Um, yeah, wait, okay. It came from after that success of being on Des stage and having that goal that I've had for years, and then all, after the excitement and the build up and the preparation, actually afterwards, there's like this slump. I've just felt in this dip and not doing actions that I know I should be taking,
Mm,
and I'm making myself wrong, and I'm also comparing myself to other people who seem to be getting on with it and sharing, and I'm not. And so that's why I thought it would be a great topic to explore, because it's like, why, understanding sort of why does it happen, and how can we move through it and out of it, you know? So that was where it came from.
So who is sharing what then? I need to understand this more. Who is sharing what?
People are sharing their experience on, immediately afterwards. They're going, wow, thank you. This
But
was a
you're
great
you're
event.
observing things. You're like now,
Yes.
there's this thing where you had this success and
Mm,
now it's like because we're all different.
yeah.
And now you're taking it all in because in your own mind, you were like, it's my first time. Am I going to pull this off? And then you pulled it off. So give Carol Ann time to actually observe or like to come to a relationship with the experience. And then when you're ready, you can
Mm.
share. For to me, I share things straight away. Even when I go to dating diamonds, while we're busy, everyone is stressing out. To me,
Mm.
I got no time to stress out. I'm getting things done and I'm sharing even on social media. But I never used to be like that. It's different, Carol, and we're all different. It's like what
Mm.
Kamal said that even in the athletics and everyone else, when they have this big win, is the question that comes next is what am I going to do next? For me, I think is the expectations. We have this when you have a big win, instead of enjoying it and really taking your own time to actually go to the next level and plan, we're now looking up to people now. What do people expect from us and stuff? It's like there are some people like Debbie when she won her crown as well. She took a few days to take it all in, and then she came out and she was like, to be honest, I went to the competition, but I didn't prepare myself the aftermath.
Mm.
I prepared
Yeah.
myself winning, but I didn't prepare myself the after. So I think that is normal, Carol Ann. Let us
Mhm.
celebrate you. We're celebrating you.
Cool. Very good. And yeah, what you're saying, it's that allowing yourself to, I love what you said, come to a relationship with the
Yeah,
experience.
you're
That sounds
getting into
beautiful.
yeah, you're coming into a
Mm.
relationship with the experience. And then once you come to a relationship with experience, then and now the question will be, how do I move from that beautiful experience, creating more beautiful experience? So you got to stop this and stop being too hard on yourself. Come out, am I
and
wrong?
yeah, you're wrong. I disagree with you. It's not about stopping anything. I'll tell you why. I'll explain something. In uh in lives we don't go through life on a, we have, let's call it the baseline, right? That's the baseline. That's the normal everyday life. Everything is everything is in the average, everything is okay, let's call it, right? That's the baseline. Now, when we have our and let's give it numbers. Let's say 0 is a complete slump, like you're down and you hate yourself and you believe that you're a failure. You have all these limiting beliefs that are stopping you, and you are full of negativity. And I don't like this connotation. You're full of despair. You're in a macabre and somber place, right? That's the 0. Okay. Then we have the 50, which is the normal baseline of every day where everything is okay, everything, you're content. Let's call it content with life, right? And then we have the 100, where you reach that peak of a certain success goal, right? So it goes like that. It's a graph, very simple. Now, if you're living your normal day on a 50 baseline, that's your norm, right? And then you have a sudden success of something. Let's talk about like when you went talking, right, to that live event and you spoke out loud to people and all that. You went up there to the 100. It's normal that you drop down to the baseline. You didn't drop down to below the 50, did you?
Oh, interesting.
You didn't. You fell at the 50,
hmm.
maybe a little bit above, because you still have that euphoric state, a tiny bit of it, right? And that allows you to continue and move forward. That's your baseline, your norm. It's not that you're going from success and then going down to that slump, completely down above, below the baseline. We're talking about a, I mean, if you go from 100 and then you go down to 0, now we're talking about you have like you're bipolar, right? You go from manic depressive. So,
There and then, yeah.
right? So we all have that baseline. And this is not my idea. This is something it's a concept. It's called the hedonic adaptation by something Lubomorsky. Her name was Lubomorsky. I always forget her name. Now, her concept suggests that in any positive event that happens that is up there, right? Our emotional state tends to rise up because it's that state of well-being, of success, of euphoric state, let's call it, okay? And once you reach that euphoric state, you can't stay up there for a long time because it's just short-lived. You cannot live on that euphoric state, otherwise you're completely mental, right? And so once that euphoric state is over, you automatically go down to that baseline that you have. And you don't have to think about it consciously, right? It's something that happens automatically. And so it's normal for you to feel a little bit, let's call it deflated, because you've had that euphoric state, then you've come down to that normal, right? That norm that you always have. And so when you compare that norm to that euphoric state, you're like, I'm missing something. Why am I so depressed now? I just won this. But you're comparing your baseline to your euphoric state. And that's
Interesting.
where,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it comes into
But
play. Yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I guess it's reframing how that feels, because actually it is there. I mean, when you've got this driver that's driving you and you're getting these highs, and I mean, isn't it the dopamine that comes, that
Yep.
keeps you motivated, that keeps you happy and up there, and then you reach that peak when you've succeeded. It's like that
Yeah.
driver has gone, so that dopamine stops.
Yep.
So that's where emotionally you get that dip. But actually, yeah, it's like, okay, so it's bringing me down to
Your norm
the
level,
normal. So
right?
again, it's rather than sort of thinking, oh gosh, and letting yourself sink further down because of the way you're thinking about it. I like that aspect of it. But it is a normal to feel that dip, because it's emotionally, it's the hormones that are actually driving it in the first place
Exactly. It's
that
very
are up
normal,
there,
right?
and then
Yeah.
they stop. So
Mm-mm.
it is about, as I said, I love what Noms has said about the um come to terms, to come to a relationship with the experience. So it's how can you be in a relationship with that experience. What is it like? And it is up there. And I really appreciate having been up there. And even though you might be down here, which, as you say, is your norm, it's then recognizing if you're allowing yourself to slip further because of your mindset. And it's like, yeah, where do you go afterwards? And I think it's having that awareness, because you might even feel a sort of some sense of loss of and disorientation. It's like, okay, so what's next?
Yeah, exactly. What's now? What's next? That's the question that comes into play,
Yes.
and that's right. That
Yeah.
causes you to feel that overwhelm automatically, because
Yeah.
you haven't prepared yourself. Okay, so this is what happens
Mm.
usually in terms of reaching your goal or reaching your success, is that most people, they suddenly have that success. They're not aware that they're going to have it now, and so they're ill prepared for the post success.
Yeah.
What then? Right? So you're not planning ahead of that success. However, and that's what a lot of people, I believe, when they're planning their goals and they're planning uh, big goals, especially, they plan for their goal, but then they don't plan for what after the goal. And so, because you will have a slump in that emotional state, like you're talking about. So, but if you plan correctly, what are you going to do after that success? Maybe not, I'm not talking about even what's your next goal. It's how to maintain a higher level. Okay, and I'll come and explain this higher level. Well, I'll explain it now so it doesn't get lost in my thoughts. What I'm talking about, the higher level, is that let's say you have a baseline of 50 and you, you, that's the norm, but are we normal like the rest? I don't like being normal like the rest. I like to be different, and I like my norm to be at 70%, right? The closer I get my norm either to go up, the less of that emotional baggage when I go down into the slump will I have to handle. So my norm becomes 60. I've got only 40 to go down, not 50. If I go up to 70 and that's my norm, I'll only have 30. Now, again, how do we reach that state of mind? We go to the beginning of handling our emotions. The Japanese teach no excessive joy, no excessive sadness, no excess in anything. Enjoy stably.
I feel something in me going, but
It's a
having
concept that
those joys, it's like,
I'm
yes,
not saying don't enjoy it. Don't
but you can
overdo
still,
it.
okay.
Manja says from Durban, South Africa. Wazulu Natali says, hi, everyone.
Hiya.
Bye.
You have to let me know where you are because I think my sister lives near you. So, yeah. I think, Carol Ann, you just need to celebrate yourself. And for me, when I win something or if I succeed in something, I allow myself to celebrate. So while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, like you say, people are sharing and stuff. Like Abdullah was saying, when we do the shooting, we have to wait for him to. Put the designs and stuff. And I was like, I don't do those kind of things. Me, I show people in the moment, they get excited with me. That's how that's how I work with my audience. When I'm doing things, uh, I get excited and I have to, like, if you have noticed with Des' event, I was posting, I'd already posted my experience by the time I get home. So the success for me is like, I don't think, what am I doing next? For me, it's like, okay, I do things, I set up goals. When I set up goals, I need to succeed. Obviously, no one wants to fail when they're doing their goals. If I win whatever I'm doing, pull through and get that success. The celebrating, I celebrate and make sure that there is this gratitude. But at the same time now is now where I have to ask God, what do I do next? Because every time I used to do things on my own, when they go wrong, and I feel like lost, but I feel if I wait in that moment and say, God, thank you for guiding me through this, and thank you for helping me to achieve this. But now, how do we go from here to that place? And I feel that when I do that, the things that would have taken me a long time, it takes me a day. That's when I wait, and then the Holy Spirit will just come in and say, do this. Then I'm like, what now? And then I do it. So, but people are different. Their beliefs are different. There are some people who get a shock. They go into a shock. And then after a shock, they're like, did I actually do that? If you look at it in the Bible, when blind Bartimaeus, the story of the prison guy when he was released, people kept praying. And when that guy came and said he's been released, they were praying, but they were not prepared for the results. They didn't believe in the results. So it shows that in reality, people, they set up goals, they want to do this, but they're not prepared for the aftermath after that, the outcome. So you have to be alert to the outcome. Like the outcome, your outcome was beautiful, Carol Ann. And that beautiful place, for me, like I'm expecting you to say, to think about happy days, like I've got goals coming up that I've set up, or I'm planning, like you got to be planning because you had the success. So when we were there, there was this Birmingham event that was presented to us as a speaker. Are you going to go as a speaker, or are you going to go just as a guest? Did you register? Because you're meant to take action there and there. Did you register?
What for? I'm sorry.
You know, there's this friend, that one that he has speaking gigs all over the world. He had the code where you go and scan it to register for his event in Birmingham that I think is coming up. Is it this weekend?
Okay.
You remember?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
remember him?
I do. And I need to get back in touch with him. Yeah. I did sort of clock it, but I didn't follow through
See, me,
afterwards.
I've already spoken to that. I've already spoken. She contacted me because I registered straight away. And yeah, I've already spoken to her that I'm not going to speak, but I'm going to come as a guest.
What is that this weekend
I'm not
in
sure whether
Birmingham?
it's this weekend or the week after. I think it's the
Yeah.
week after. I'm not sure. Yeah. But those are the things that you should be preparing. If you register for this AI Zoom meeting,
No. 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 Because it was like there's actions that I need to follow up because I'm putting on a webinar next week, and I've got a workshop in the new year that I'm putting on, and my vision then was sort of moving forward with those, and there were people that I need to follow up with from that Des's event, but because of things that aren't set up, I've been allowing that to stop me, in my my calendar and booking calls and that. I've done some of the other things I've done, and I'm like, yeah, I did it. I finally created an email sequence, an automation. I did all the steps for people booking onto my workshop next year because
did
I
you do
got two
it
people.
yourself? Well, you seem to be getting techy these days. What happened to you? I'm so proud of you.
It's like all these years again. There's this huge success of I finally got my head around it, and because although I was hoping that someone was going to help me on that Monday, unfortunately, that person has not been available because of family commitments and things that are happening in the family, and it's left me with that. Got to sort this out myself, and I've managed to do that, and I've got 3 funnel sequences now that I've managed to go through, clear what the blips were and add to them, and they can now work. And I was like at the weekend, oh, I've done that. I've done that. But I think because in the background, I keep seeing time sliding by, and I'm not making contact with the people that I said I would and follow up with. That's constantly in my mind, and I'm going, I'm allowing that to pull me down, because what I'm hearing is the sort of the voices, well, if you don't do it, if you don't get it done, then it's going to be too late. The opportunity's been and gone. And that's the voice that I need to become aware of and go, do you know what? This is my journey. This is my learning. And actually, I'm succeeding and doing things tech-wise that for years I haven't been able to do. And so I have got a VA who I contacted yesterday and said, look, can you look at this because it's not working? There's always a way round a problem. And I think now I do have other avenues. I need to use them. But certainly I've now started thinking about, well, what is next in terms of my speaking. And just this morning, I suddenly thought about TEDx talk. I always wanted to do one of those, and I did apply a few years ago, but it didn't get accepted. So what I did, I put into Chat GPT, because I've got all the questions. It's been helping me with lots of suggestions around my talk that I did last week and about my book and, all sorts of things. So it knows what I'm doing. And I said, right, create me a TEDx talk around this and make sure it's got this, and this, put a lot of things in there. And what it came back with, because I was looking for the structure of what does a TEDx talk look like? What are the components? Because it is very precise. And what I got back from it was like, I was in tears. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to say. That's exactly the points that I want to get over and get people thinking about writing and about unlocking the writer within. So I can now tweak that and put my own voice in it. And so I'm excited. So, okay. That's something that I'm going to start working towards next year, but I am certainly looking more for other stages to talk on, because I really enjoyed being on that stage. And I realized that this is where I want to be. And that was something that I keep coming back to after that talk. This is where I want to be on the stage. So I think it is. I don't know whether we can ever prepare for the out after a big success, because I've heard, and I did write down, well, maybe we need to be prepared for the outcome, but maybe we just need to be prepared for whatever happens, and wherever we go with it is where we go with it. And if we do get that bit of a slump or whatever it is, what you were saying, Kamal, it's that emotional, being able to deal with the emotional aspects much more easily, so that it's not so much of a crash. It's a little dip, and it's like, oh, that's where I'm at, and bounce back up again. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that I agree with the fact that to prepare for whatever outcome, this is a wonderful preparedness to have, right? Whatever outcome comes, of done what I wanted to do, not what I'm supposed to do, but what I wanted to do. Um, and I will move forward. Now, I will move forward. Now, we know that there is whatever you consider failure, which is not a failure, it's a first attempt in learning because you did something and you can learn from it. And so, how are you going to move forward in that perspective? So you can plan for what if. There's always that what if, right? And you can always plan in what if, plan A, plan B, plan C. So your emotional state can be prepared. And you have that in NLP, right? You can prepare yourself for a specific emotion, for a specific outcome that you want. You can teach yourself how to react to certain situations. For instance, you play it in your head, like you visualize it. If you're a visual person, you visualize yourself. Okay, so how will I act when I get this reward? How will I act if I'm only nominated? How will I act if I'm kicked out? How will I act? And you prepare yourself for all of these different emotional states that we can find ourselves in, so that when that emotional state arises, you're like, I'm cool with it. I've got it, right?
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. I know it's a lot of work, but this is the whole concept of self-development. It's developing yourself in order to be able to master all of your emotions, whatever they might be, at any given situation, right? And so it comes in that factor of, okay, now you've had that success. You went down into the slump. How about readjusting and recalibrating your baseline?
Mm.
And we recalibrate, right? We're always hovering like that around that that baseline that we're talking about it, right? We calibrate it. And the word that I was looking for when I was speaking about the Japanese concept is everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Think of it. When the Japanese they teach people how to, or in Japan, they're taught how to eat, right? They never eat until they're completely full. What was it? It was 30% food, 30% liquid, 30% of oxygen. They eat until they're only 30% full. They drink until they're only 30% full, so that there is more for anything else.
Mm.
And so if you have that mentality of moderation in everything, excess is not something that becomes an excess. And so your baseline automatically goes to that upper level. You can raise your baseline into something else, right? Now we're talking about planning. We're talking about how can we plan for things. Some people, for instance, they plan, let's say a student, talk about a student, right? Studying medicine. How do they identify? They identify as a future doctor, right? Or a researcher doing studies, a future researcher. And what happens when they get their degree? They're already in that state of mind of being, oh, I am a future, but now I am the doctor. But then reverse it a little bit, go back a bit and say, nah, not a future doctor. I'm a doctor and I'm working on opening my clinic. Doctor is achieved. You have your doctor's degree. You are a doctor. Great. That's halfway through the goal. My next goal is already to open the clinic. So now you see your excitement. Yes, you got excited about getting your degree because you were studying that, but there's still another goal ahead of you. Now you're a doctor in practice, opening soon my clinic, and then what do you want after that? And then opening a second branch. That's how I'm identifying. So now you open your first clinic, you're still identifying at that person that opening the second, and you start adjusting your identity based on what you want. This is one of the options that one can do. Now, there is something that is pretty harsh though, which is the how we pressure ourselves into certain standards and perfectionists. And that happens to a lot of people, or high achievers usually. And if you give yourself extremely high standards, which can be a powerful motivator, what happens when you don't achieve it? What happens? Perfectionism will always cause you to be dissatisfied with whatever outcome you have. And so you experience it as something that is, you keep telling yourself like, I could have done better, right? And if I remember correctly, in the term in psychology is called something fallacy, arrival fallacy, I think. Yeah. Um, so it means basically once the reality falls into place, you fall short of the fantasy, and then that slump sets in and becomes even faster, right? So there are a few things that we can manage. There are a few things that we can do to put ourselves in a position where that slump is not excessive. Like I said, you had that success rate. Now you can readjust your baseline so that you don't fall too much. You can plan ahead of the next one and the next one and the next one so that you can have that. You use that euphoric state to build up your baseline in order to push you, to propel you even more into the next part of your success. I don't know. So these are the ramblings of my head and how I'm seeing things. And I keep rambling, so you gotta stop me from talking.
Lobster, jump in quick.
Just jump in, say, come on, but yeah,
Come on, jump in. Are you muted? Yeah.
You are not wrong. We all do things differently. So, yeah, you have to prepare yourself. And also, there's this comparison as well, where people, if they don't get the results that they start comparing themselves with other people. Or even people win, they start comparing other people. Because for me, it's like, uh, if I'm helping someone, I always let them know that if we win this, we're not going to go to a place where we start comparing ourselves or where we start wasting time with the depression and anxiety. I'm like, we're not doing that. So you need to enjoy the time you're winning. You have to enjoy it. That's why I say you have a relationship with it, and that gratitude where you put on the hard work. And at the same time, um, you set goals as well. You have to set goals because if you want to win, obviously, you have to have a picture of who you want to become, where you need to be. So once you have a picture of that picture and then that world, now you have to work towards that world. It's like athletics. If you win something, when I was playing football, it was celebrating that game when you go and celebrate. No, after celebrating, the next day now you think about what can I do better? There is no time to mop around, to think, to say, oh, okay, I'm gonna start worrying. It's like the manager now wants to know what can you do different to actually go to the pitch and win even more goals. And first, he will start appreciating and using psychology to appreciate you. And he will be like, this is when he comes back and like he wants more of you. And you, as well as a player, you want more of you. If you get 3 goals, you're like, I wish we would have got 5 to actually make sure that we are on top of the table or Premier League and stuff. But it's never enough. But I've learned the hard way to appreciate the success that the journey where I'm going. And once you appreciate that success, and then then I have to say, God, where do I go from here? For me, it's like, God, take me to where I need to be. Tomorrow, where do you want me to be? And that's where you have to get to your destination without comparing. People destroy themselves, the expectations. We worry about people, what they expect of us. Live a Kamal's life. Me, Kamal is helping me out with the attitude of not worrying about what people think.
Be
Worry,
happy. Don't
be
worry.
happy. Yeah, and just when I met Carol Ann for the first time, Kamal, I met Carol Ann days of Condense event in person. She is so young. She looks so young in person and
Mm.
not on the camera. She looks so young. She was all prepared. She's 70 years old. She took Des on stage and Des goes, I don't think I can do this no more. So it was so funny. So I think
Um,
it is just the gratitude of I've
Mm.
accomplished this,
Yeah.
not comparing your life with anybody or saying I could have done better. I've taught my children when they go on stage, like I say to them, when you go on stage, remember the audience they don't have a clue what you're doing. The
Yeah.
dance, how it should look like, is only the people who have done the dance before. I
Mm.
always say, when you go on stage, you just do your thing. If you make a mistake, you continue to do your thing because we don't have a clue what you're doing. So we're just enjoying the thing. And one day, my daughter, I left the music at home. And she went on stage and they played the wrong music. She looks at me, she looks at the judges, and she goes, don't worry, they would have disqualified her. She went, don't worry, I know the dance by heart without music. She came second, but she went on stage and danced the dance just without music because it's what I've taught her that it's what you know.
Mm.
You have to show people what you know because people don't know what you know. You have to speak. And she did that. Sometimes she goes on stage, she prepares the dance. When she forgets, she creates her own. So sometimes you hear her teacher saying, I don't think that's what I taught you, but what if I was wondering do people standing? But if
Mm.
you don't know, because people just do things, they're like, worry about people. Take the worry of the people out and just do you.
mm,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have learned from Kamau, guys. I used to worry about Kiro. Anna used to worry about Grandy, everybody else. And Kamau said, Nomsa, listen, you want to set up goals, you set up goals. Just work with us. If we want to come along with the goals, we'll come along. But if we don't, we don't. So why are you worried?
Mm.
So it was like, don't worry about anything. And so Kero Annie needs to do Kero Annie.
Mm.
Yeah.
But don't stay. It's like if you feel, okay, yeah, I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, pick up the phone, get an accountability partner. You have loads of people here to host
Mm.
talk shows, and we can help you. But for me, I would say you're creating your webinar. And since Desmond O'Connor, you can't compare yourself with Nomsa. Nomsa, she's always binding and casting with the God, and I'm always like yesterday. There's something that I was doing. I was doing this prayer, and now I've decided to read the instructions. What is written? What does this prayer do? So I was like, okay, so I did that without me knowing. I got the results without me knowing. Now I was reading the prayer. I was like, oh, okay. So you can't compare yourself. It's like me, I'm always like, I'm always on the go. I'm taking pictures, taking selfie, and I'm doing other things. That's
Mm.
how I roll. If I go like in gossip talk shows, I could be posting something and say, guys, this is where I am. I go to Desmond O'Connor while you guys are dancing. I'm dancing with you, and I'm sending the data to Facebook.
Mm,
They said,
yeah.
this is what we are
Mm,
up to. So you can't compare yourself and say, oh, but Nomsa has done that. I have not done that. Uh, we're different.
mm. And
But
we are different. And it is that recognizing when you start to compare yourself, because there's that
mm.
beautiful phrase, compare to despair.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you find yourself in that place and recognize it, but you can't pull yourself out of it, you continue to do it, then it's going deeper inside and saying, well, what actually are you getting from this? Because there'll be a secondary gain going on.
Mm.
There's some benefit that your body thinks you're getting by allowing yourself to sink into this despair and constantly compare. So it's then working on that inner depth. and go that bit deeper. So, and this is where I start to then work. But sometimes it's nice to have someone to talk to about it and share it with. And I love what you just said, Nomsa, because maybe I lost sight of that bit as well of because again you did where sometimes I go is I focus on what no, they're not available, no, they're not available, and I forget all of those who are possibly available that I could talk with or have, share with. And so it's again recognizing, where do you go in that state? Do you constantly think, oh, well, they're not available, I haven't got anybody, there isn't anybody there? No. But actually there is. It's like, stop and pull yourself around and say, well, actually, no, there will be somebody. It's just someone you haven't thought about that's in your field, that's in your,
Also,
one
what
of
we
your
see
groups that
about
you're
you,
with.
Carol Ann, what we see about you, you don't see it. Like I was admiring you the other day. I was like, this girl, she's getting all techie all of a suddenly. I spend an hour looking for your banner, looking for the email through the emails, the banner that you've created, until I realized actually she created it herself. It wasn't created part of the speakers, it wasn't part of us. She did it herself. So you have to you have to do you, because
Yeah.
we are sitting on the other side. We
Mm-hmm.
see the development, how the growth, and you're growing. But if you don't have time to appreciate Carol Ann, we are gonna have time. I'm gonna have time to appreciate you, appreciate your growth. Because I was like, she's getting techy now. She never used to be like this. So I recognize the change.
So
Well,
it
I
is
was
that
gonna
thing.
ask you, sorry, Caroline, like because you started talking about it, and it's I'll just put it out there so that people know how or like what I'm thinking and what you're talking about. Like I was gonna ask you about, now that you've been into that high state of mind, and then you went into that after high, let's call it low slump. What would you consider like practical strategies? Let's talk about it this way, to overcome that slump.
Um, whether it's actually overcome it or be able to move through it,
Yeah, it's whichever
rather,
definition
and
you
it's
want
like,
to. Yeah,
again,
that's fine. Yeah.
it's again, how are you looking at it and how you're
Mm-hmm.
phrasing it and how you want to look at it, move with it. And it is actually starting by acknowledging where you're at
Mm-hmm.
and not making it wrong. And if you are, then that's the bit that has to stop,
Yep.
because by making it wrong, you're holding yourself in that place and you're sinking even further, because you're going to look for even more evidence to prove yourself right, because you're always proving yourself right. You never find things that will prove you wrong. You always think
Mm-hmm.
so. You'll be constantly looking for evidence. So once you stop, that seeking for evidence will stop as well, and it will just hold you where you are. And then it's either start looking at and acknowledging what you have achieved
Mm-hmm.
and put it into context and share it.
I like
Actually
that. Yeah.
take that step to share it, even if it is time afterwards, because I'm sort of, there's that part of me that's going, oh, it's too late now, it's well over a week later now, it's been and gone, it's too late. It's not. It so isn't it? If you say it is, isn't there that quote, if you think you're right and if you think you're wrong, it's right, you're right, or something, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you think you can or if you think you
If you think you
can't,
can't,
you're right.
you're right. Yeah.
So if you think you can do it now, because it's okay, it's when you
Mm-hmm.
decide to do it, or if you think you can't do it now, it's too late, you're
Mm-hmm.
right. So I'm hearing that as I'm talking and going, okay, so that's what I've been thinking. I've now got to a point where it's too late. I can't do it now. Actually, why not? It's whatever
Exactly.
time is perfect, because it's how I then phrase it and put it out there. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking is the next step. So actually, what is it that you could do, but share what's happening But then look at what is it that the tasks that you now are avoiding or that you're up against that are probably tasks that you're constantly coming up against. So for me, it is that follow up. It is, like the tech part of getting in touch, and it's just acknowledging what it is you're avoiding. And because all of a sudden I found myself going, oh, let me do this and let me do that. And oh, yeah, I'd start creating that. So the creator starts coming out to play. We'll allow the creator to come out to play to a certain point, but also recognize, is that creator then going to get to the same point of that you've been avoiding that action? And if it is, then stop. Just make a note of what it is you're creating. Put it in a parking space or whatever you want to call it, and come back to and face what it is you've been avoiding. And either reach out and ask for support to get through it, or sit with it. Just look again. Just do it. Just sit. And even if you find yourself fidgeting and restless, go fidget. Come back again. Go for a walk. I now go for a walk round a place called Ruislip Lido. Beautiful place. It takes me a couple of buses to get there. It takes a good 2.5 hours out of my day. But if I plan for that and think, right, I'm going to do that, I'll do some work and then I'll go for that walk, because that 45-minute walk around the Lido and even the bus journeys help shift my thinking. I'm thinking I've got a bit of paper in my pocket and a pen in the other pocket, and I'm now, okay, I'll jot some notes then, because my thinking shifts. And then I come back and it's like, oh, okay, I can get on. So go for a walk, but face what it is that you're avoiding. And it's usually something you constantly avoid. And that's where the dip is. And that's what will help move you through when you face that avoidance and you actually do what it is you're avoiding. That's what will help you come back out the dip and move up again and increase your norm, you know? I love that. But also what you said about identity.
Yeah.
I love that. Who you're identifying yourself as. Reframing that, because I felt that when you said, I'm whatever in the future, I'm a doctor in the future, I suddenly rewrote, oh yeah, I'm a speaker in the future. It's always in the future. Well, I'm here. It's now.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Right.
all of a sudden that who you were identifying as is gone. So again, I love that. Re-identify yourself with something that is future based and pulling you towards something rather than it's in the past. So I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of steps I think I would suggest, and that I'm moving through myself and that I will move myself through.
I like those. I like those. You have I've got a couple as well that I want to add to yours. I mean, you've mentioned obviously the feedback guidance as well if you need it. You've mentioned gratitude and uh, reflecting on those points and how to accept them, right? And that, yes, this was a success, and using that time to grow a little bit more. There are a few things that I want to add to what you've been saying. There is, I would call it, it will be adding on to that. What am I avoiding? That I can do since I've got a high now, just before I go from in that deep low, right? It's looking into the how can you replicate that success into other small tasks that you're talking about by setting up a little bit of mini or micro goals, right? So you identify like one small step at a time or smaller steps that you can take weekly to align you in the direction of that whatever activity that you're avoiding to achieve it, since you've got that high. I would also suggest, once you get to that success point, that high, once you're in that high, before it goes down, to ask yourself certain questions. Maybe write them down in a journal or a piece of paper, or have them listed in front of you so that you can remember and remind yourself that. I think these are the questions that could potentially raise your baseline. So one of them is what did achieving my goal teach me about my strengths, for instance?
Mm.
And for instance, another one would be where did I struggle, and what does that reveal about the areas for growth that I am missing? And another one would be how can I apply these lessons moving forward? And so by asking yourself these questions, you can keep that high in a certain, you can adjust it a little bit more so that slump doesn't go down. You're in a state of developing your reflective mode, right? Reflecting on that win, on that success, and you develop it in order to learn from it, right? To bring out something, a massive learning experience from it. I think this is also a great time to have a mindset shift and use affirmations. Um, so instead of being a perfectionist, right, and using like a belief system that doesn't empower you, it's like, oh, I could have done better and all of that. We change it. We recode our statements that resonate with the journey that we've had. My achievements reflect my capacity for growth or for evolution, not my final result, not my endpoint, right? I can find fulfillment in the progress, not in the outcome.
Nice one.
And so by asking certain questions in this way, you are still using that success of yours to teach yourself, to put a mindset that there's always growth, and it's not about the end point, it's not about the outcome, it's not about the result, it's not about that goal that you've achieved, but it's that process of learning and growing and having the potential to continuously move forward with that. Yeah, and I mean, for me, this is crucial. Personally, anybody that goes for a goal or an achievement, they usually have that drive, and I'm going to say a powerful drive for you to go through that effort, to go through all of the pain that you've been through. I'm calling it pain. It's not pain, right? If it's something that you enjoy, it's not pain at all. So what was it for? Did you want to express creativity? Did you want to help others? Did you want to improve your circumstances? And I take that success part as a very important part, like event in our life, to reconnect with your purpose, to reconnect with the why, right? And there are many ways to reconnect with your why in life. Why am I doing this? It's not why am I doing this, is how is this connected to my purpose? How is this connected to the life that I want to lead, and what outcome will it help into uncovering my true purpose if I haven't uncovered it? And one exercise that I like to give out is writing a letter to your past self, explaining why you wanted to achieve the original goal. And then once you've done that, you write a letter to your future self about how you plan to use that and use what you've learned in that experience to create a meaningful impact in your life, in your purpose. I think
That's
these
good.
could be
That's good.
useful to continue. And of course, celebrate the small wins as much as you want to. I'm not saying don't get excited. Yeah, just don't overdo it. Moderation, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I agree with you, Kamal. I think at the end of the day, it's all about where you need to be. You need to have that big video in your head where you see yourself, your destination going, because the destination is an unending destination. And when Kamal says, yes, celebrate your wins and stuff, I think that is really, really important. In journaling things is really, really important. Me, I don't do journal. I have this picture in my head. I find that the mind is everything. If I want to achieve something, I put it in the mind. And I have to keep reminding the mind, this is who I want to become. And I find when I write things, they take time. But when I put it in my head, in my mind, and keep just when I'm playing music and keep smiling, I'm not imagining I have it, but I'm thinking about that journey where I need to be, where God needs to take me. And even if I win something, it's like I hold on to gratitude. And when I hold on to gratitude, it's like I have this mind where I need my company to be, where I need my relationship to be. If the negativity do appear in that, I don't allow it in that cycle. It has to stay outside, because if I allow it to enter and affect me and enter my circle, that means it's gonna stay there. So I don't ignore it. I push it on the side. I'm like, okay, I see you, I hear you, but I need something that is going to build me. Then I have to now look at how did this become negative, not making it wrong, but just creating my goals, knowing where I need to be, not giving up on the things that I want, even when I'm at my lowest. I got to feel like $1 million woman when I'm at my lowest, guys. That's when dreams are born. That's where things come to reality. So yeah, and maybe one day actually I need to share you the weapons. Like there's this book that was written by Dr. Olokoya. It has every weapon of, like, if you want to achieve this, you say this out loud, you say prayer, you pray this, it happens. I've been doing it. I'm thinking about to hold on in a minute and just think about the outcome. When I went through human blood sacrifice, I got really like to find out why, who put me through that. So I have decided to use that to put these people under judgment. But I did it with two people now. And I've seen the results. But I'm just speaking to God and like saying, because there are people that have gone through it. So I'm sharing with you guys, if you want to successful business, and don't waste time in going to pray and saying, God, have mercy, or God, you know what, I want to affirmation. Don't do that. That takes years to achieve it. Just do the weapon, and the weapon is like I was watching the weapon that I was using, and I could see for the past week there's been like an angel that is coming like a wind. I was like, I've read yesterday, I was like, this is what I've been doing, but without realizing. And I just looked at the computer and I was like, oh my God. So I'm going to share it with you, even if the odds against you, the meetings or the odds against you, if you want the angel of God to be on your side in that meeting, for people just to hear you, because we want to be heard. We want people to have mercy as long as you're willing to do the work. So I'm gonna share it with you guys, and I'm still on it.
Nice. Yay.
I think it's 11 minutes past. I think we deserve to go now, guys. What do you think?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Any final words, Caroline?
Yeah, there's a lovely quote that I found. It's success is not the end, it's the beginning of the next chapter. True growth lies in what you do after the applause fades. And that's by Unknown. And I just thought that really wraps up what we've been saying.
Yeah, definitely,
Beautifully.
definitely. It does.
Yeah.
I'll say it in simpler terms for the layman.
Go for it.
In my opinion, and we've talked about that, success is not something static. It is something dynamic, and so are you as a human being. So you you have the capacity to grow, to learn, and redefine what matters to you, right? And so with each high or slump, probably every slump that you overcome, if we're talking about the slump after the highs, right? You become resilient, you become self-aware, you become capable of going through these ups and downs, right? The peaks and the valleys of that ride that you're going along, right? Your baseline, your top high, and stay adjust yourself to that, to a little bit higher, right? So you're the one that defines what a fulfilling life is. So you've got tools, you've got people to reach out to. We're here. So these are my final words for you.
Thank you, Kamal. For me, guys, is like if you don't have a mentor, have a mentor. Connect with people that can help you to build that foundation for your success and keep celebrating it. Focus on legacy and impact. That's very, very important. Reflect on your why and give back. That is really, really, really important. Giving back is like, it's a blessing. It's like you're bringing your blessings to you. And guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, please do subscribe to our channel. And if you're watching us on Twitter, Facebook, share our videos with your friends and family. And that's what we do here at Ngozi Talk Shows, helping you guys find your own voice, lead from within. I never had to, I didn't have a voice before. I had it, but it was hiding inside of me. So that is really, really important for us. And we appreciate you, those who are taking time to watch us. Like website is Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency, is the initials of the company name, www.hseia.coach. And God bless everyone and live with grace. I think tomorrow I'm with Grant and Amanda. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.